How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 1. Your Key to Success and Happiness. We all want two things out of life, success and happiness, and that can mean different things to different people, but the common denominator in success is other people. Studies show that if you can successfully deal with people, you've already made it about 85% of the way. I'm really not that smart, so if you're anything like me, listen up, because you can learn this 85%. Getting along with people doesn't guarantee success and happiness. Whether you're timid and shy or like a dictator, merely just getting along with people won't cut it. But learning how people operate will bring you success. Successfully dealing with people is learning how to not crush their egos as well as your own. Look around you. Are the most successful and happiest the ones with brains, or are they the kind that just have a way with people? Your personality problems are your problems with other people. Millions of people are shy and timid in social settings, but their real problem is a lack of understanding human relations. Bossy or strong type of people feel empowered but wonder why people push them away. They force cooperation, friendships, and people to produce for them, but they cannot force people to give them what they want, and that's to like them. When you refine personality down to its basic ingredients, it's the ability to interest and serve other people. Whether you like it or not, there's going to be people like here on Earth next to you all the time. And if you look for success in any line, you will find a man or a woman who has a way in dealing with people. Successfully dealing with people is not a gimmick. It's an understanding of human nature and how we operate as human beings. People are not all the same, so a standard gimmick you learned just simply won't work. A pianist doesn't just learn songs, they master the foundation of the piano so that they can apply those skills to all types of songs and genres. Influencing people is an art, not a trick. The purpose of this book is to teach you some chords so that you can apply your knowledge and understanding with people. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 2. How to use the basic secret for influencing others. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 2. The one unforgivable sin in terms of human relations is trampling on another person's ego. Because the human ego is so precious and sensitive, and one will protect it as much as they can, the word egotism has become a bad word. What is egotism, anyway? The world calls it egotistical, big-headed, or Chad. It's really a divine spark, and only those men and women who ignited that divine spark ever did great things. Whatever you call it, deep in the human soul, we all need respect and approval. But we are all unique, and we defend what's important to us against our enemies. This is why you cannot treat people like machines. The Declaration of Independence is a declaration for the individual. It has power not because of certain rights for certain groups of people, but from the fact that it proclaims certain inalienable rights to all men and women. Let's get four things straight. Number 1, we are all egotists. Number 2, we are all more interested in ourselves than anything else. Number 3, every person you meet wants to feel important. And number 4, there is a craving of approval that everyone wants that they cannot do themselves. We are all ego hungry. When we can at least partially satisfy that hunger, we can then forget ourselves and focus on other people. The self-centered, egotistical person is not suffering from too much self-esteem, but too little. If you're in good terms with yourself, then you're in good terms with other people. As food is important for our body, respect and approval is important for one's ego. You have to lower yourself to become petty. The bully has low self-esteem. He thinks one good beatdown and I'll feel better. The one way to deal with troublemakers, feed their ego. A hungry dog is a mean dog. Well-fed dogs seldom want to fight. My dog, sassy little rascal if I forget to feed her, and rightfully so. Look for 5 things you can compliment and praise someone on. Don't be fake, be genuine. Think, how can I help this person like themselves just a little bit more? People will act or fail to act largely to enhance their ego. To get what you want, show the other guy how he can get what he wants. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 3. How to cash in on your assets. Here's a detailed summary of Chapter 3. The most universal hunger is the hunger to feel important, and it's in your power to feed that hunger to make people feel important. Give this away for free. Don't be greedy. Don't worry about the reciprocation. It always comes back to you multiplied. Yes, we want to feel important, but we also need to feel that other people recognize and acknowledge our importance. Our own feelings largely result in how others make us feel. Have you ever seen why some people get divorced? It's he did this or she does that. They don't realize they are depleting each other's egos and they are both starving. What they're really saying at their core is, you're not noticing me anymore. People quit their jobs because the employer doesn't recognize them and help them get what they want. They demand hard work but show little to no real interest in their workers. Failure to recognize their work by showing no appreciation, no promotion, pay raise, or career path really says you're not that important. And don't think that pizza parties are a way of appreciation. You're just going to end up a viral TikTok video, so just don't do that. 3 rules to make people feel important. Number 1, genuinely believe they are. When you can convince yourself that people are important, there's no need for gimmicks, just sincerity. Number 2, notice other people. You ever hit a home run in Little League Baseball? You don't look at your teammates or coach. You look for dad in the stands or mom. You want them to say, "Attaboy, great job, buddy." You want them to notice you. That same little boy seeking approval from his parents carries into adulthood, and he still needs that attaboy from time to time. In social settings, notice the people around you. Look them in the eye, speak to them, smile. They will think that you're so nice to talk to, but really you're just noticing them. Number 3, don't use this to take advantage of people. When someone tells you about a story, don't try to top it. Just because you ask them a question doesn't mean you need to give them a better answer than what they said. Making a good impression is great, but the best impression is to let them know that you were impressed by them. They will literally love you. And know when to correct somebody. Ask yourself, if it doesn't matter 5 years from now, then it doesn't matter now. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 4. How you can control the actions and attitudes of others. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 4. Each of us exercise control over the actions of other people. Have you ever dealt with someone you know is going to be difficult? You come in hot-headed and fist-clenched? Your actions and attitudes set the stage up for them to act out just as you were expecting. When someone yells at you or gets in your face, what's your natural response? Fight back, right? Stand up for yourself. Other people are no different. How to control another person from getting angry? Think of a time right before you had a screaming argument. Not exactly fun, right? Well, how did it get out of hand? Somebody disagrees and the conversation gets louder and then it's an argument. To avoid this or alleviate this, maybe soften your voice. Put yourself in their shoes, show some empathy, be nice, and don't scream. If you scream at yourself in the mirror, the person there will scream back. The same goes for any argument with any person. And the same goes for enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is contagious. Without enthusiasm, you cannot sell anything. And this isn't just sales. This applies to your relationships, your own passions, your friendships. It is much easier to get people on board with your idea when you bring unwavering enthusiasm. Confidence is key. If somebody tells you don't get your hopes up, get away from them immediately. Hope is the precursor for confidence, and many men have gotten further along than other people on confidence alone. Other people will believe in you when you show confidence in yourself and in them. How do you show confidence? Glad you asked. People cannot see the confidence in your head, but there are signs that they look for and notice. Number 1, it's all in the walk, baby. You ever see someone walking with their head down, eyes drooped, no emotion, slugged shoulders? I would rather talk to a wet mop than that guy. But when someone walks in the room with a glow on their face, shoulders back, head high, big smile, you know they are confident in themselves. And a part of you knows that you would feel a little bit better just by being around them. Number 2, the handshake. Shaking hands with somebody that offers you a limp wrist feels like a dead fish in your hand, and it's gross. The guy who strong arms you is just trying to prove himself as more powerful. That is also annoying. But the guy that has the firm handshake with a smile on their face tells you they're confident in who they are. Number 3, your tone of voice. 7% of communication is actual words. The other 93% is tone of voice and body language. Don't mumble or be timid in your tone, but speak confidently. Not aggressively, but confident. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 5. How you can create a good first impression on people. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 5. You have about 0.5 seconds to make an impression on someone. The second they see you and you're about to meet, they have already subconsciously made up an idea of who you are in their head. Be sharp as a tack, be enthusiastic, and show interest in them. How you set the mood for any conversation is exactly how that conversation is going to go, whether it's informal, business, serious. Before any discussion with someone, ask yourself, how do I want this to go? What mood am I trying to set here? And then act on that. Your first impression on someone could be the lasting impression. I can specifically remember avoiding somebody for years because I just felt like I didn't like them the first time I met them. Many people worry about what other people think about them, but the world forms its own opinions on us based on the opinion we have of ourselves. If you're not accepted as you want to be, then blame yourself. Act like a nobody, you'll be treated like a nobody. Act like a somebody, and people will start to treat you like a somebody. Just don't act like a jerk. People also have an impression on you based on the things you value, your job, your work, your friends. I got one friend that always talks trash about other people and even his own friends, and that makes me think, does he talk trash about me to other people? Every time we judge something, we are giving the other person a reason to judge us. Being negative just gives off bad vibes and people are turned off by it. Even though they may join in on the fun, they really have a sense of judgment towards you on who you are. To me, a man who treats his mother with love and respect is exactly how he's going to treat his wife. Okay, don't get weird here, you get my point. If a man is rude, disrespectful, and mean to his mother, then expect him to treat you like that at some point too. You ever been around the guy, Chris the complainer, just a straight up negative dude? After you leave that conversation, you feel icky and you just want to go shower because it just feels awful? Don't be Chris. Don't knock the competition. Guilty pleasure of mine. I like to watch The Bachelor. I know it's strange. But does the girl or the guy ever go for the person that always knocks the other person, that's always talking trash about the other person? No, nobody likes that. They want to go for the person that's confident in themselves, because the person that just talks bad about the other people just says, there's really nothing good about me, but here's all the bad things about them. Getting people to say yes to you. Don't say, do you like this? Yes or no. Instead, say, you like this, don't you? Forming a question like this shows the other person that you notice them and believe their value is important to you. Bonus, nod your head. Yes, when you ask them a question. Get people to do what you want them to do. Find a personal reason for them to do it. A friend of mine is a genius at this. He runs several businesses. In order to reach his sales and financial goals, he takes personal interest and shows his workers exactly how to get what they want. By this, he also gets what he wants. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 6. How to use 3 big secrets for attracting people. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 6. There are 3 basic needs or hunger to attract people to you. Number 1, acceptance. We all want to be accepted for who we are. Think about it. Do you run towards people that make fun of you? No, you like to be around people that like to be around you. The best thing for you to do in attracting people is to believe in them. If you want your spouse, partner, or friend to change, do something different, then have faith in them and show it. By liking and accepting the other person, you give them the power to change for the betterment of themselves. Look at the Bible. Now, regardless of your beliefs, just look at the text. The Pharisees condemned people and judged them. They had rules, and if you didn't follow them, then you were a sinner and damned. Outside of the Pharisees, Jesus never judged anyone, but he showed them love and grace, and that's why people followed him. He accepted the adulterers, the sinners, and the bad people of the world and showed them a better way, and people felt accepted. That's why they loved him. Everybody wants to be accepted. Not everyone will, but we need to be accepted by those we most love. Even Hitler. I don't condone Hitler, but even he had a closed circle of people that went everywhere he did. Number 2, approval. Acceptance is merely being okay with how the other person is. Approval is positively seeking out something you like about them. Negative people that show acceptance still bring out the worst in us, but the positive person finds things to approve of with you, and that's something we all crave. If you compliment somebody on something, make sure it's not incredibly obvious. Like if you compliment your wife on how good she is at taking care of the kids, she's like, yeah, Brad, I know, I've been doing it for 8 years straight. But rather find something else that you may not have noticed too much before. Maybe it's her gardening, hobbies, or how she's good at reading people. Pay attention to her. Compliment that and she will glow. Number 3, appreciation is magic. Appreciate means raise in value, and we all want people like that around us. Guys, girls, if you want a happier relationship, show your partner that you truly appreciate them. If they work long hours, then clean up the house and make dinner. If you get into an argument or disagreement, let them know you're sorry, you love them, you're happy they're in your life, and you want to do better. The same goes for your coworkers or friends. Maybe not as intimate as with your spouse, but show sincere and genuine appreciation for those people, and they will want to do the same for you. Have you ever been to a really fancy restaurant or a high-class hotel? They treat you like gold. You love the food, but even better, you love that experience. So why aren't you treating people like that every day that you interact with? Ladies, try this. Honey, nobody can pull off that outfit or hairstyle, but you make it look incredible. That guy will literally do anything you ask for at least 6 weeks straight because he is going to live off that high that you just gave him. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 7. How to make the other person feel friendly instantly. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 7. In this category, there are 2 types of people. There are people that have never met a stranger. They just immediately become friends with somebody and act like they've been friends forever. And the other kind of person just can't get people to warm up to them. They just can't become friends with them immediately. It just takes time. What's the secret? Assume the other person is going to like you. It sounds too easy, right? Well, it is easy. When you have the attitude and expect someone to like you, you approach a conversation in a completely different manner. Imagine the thoughts in your head. That person probably doesn't want to talk to me. She's probably already seeing somebody, or I don't think they want my product. This negative thinking sets the tone of your actions and attitudes toward that conversation, or lack thereof. If your thoughts are, they probably won't like me, then you will stay tucked in your shell and it will be difficult to be friendly with people. But if your thoughts are, most people are friendly and they'll like me, then you will appear more confident and chances are you will both be friendly to each other. It's that simple. Change your attitude. Generally, most people are friendly. Most people are like you. They crave friendship and approval. Don't be afraid to initiate. Yeah, some people are gonna suck, but most people are decent human beings. Just like you. Just relax. Don't be a spaz, okay? Have excitement, but controlled excitement. Nobody likes the dude, all in their face, breathing their hot dog breath on them, asking them 13,675 questions. Keep it balanced. There's a difference between, I bet this guy or girl will like me, versus I will literally cry for 4 hours if they don't like me. Do the first thought, ditch the second one. Smile. People love a genuine, sincere smile. If you're too aggressive with it, then tone it down there, Pennywise. You're scaring people. When a dog comes up to you with its tail wagging in genuine excitement, if that dog processed human thoughts, then it would be something like, I think this person will like me. Maybe they do have human thoughts, but in dog form. #dog thoughts. Same goes for a nice smile. It says, I like you, I'm friendly, and I think you're friendly. Don't fake smile, you just look weird, but really smile. Smile from the heart, be sincere and true. Learn to smile on the inside first, and then it will radiate out of you on that beautiful face you have. Practice this. Smile in the mirror at yourself. If you're grossed out at what you see, then have a snack. Try it again. I don't know. Snacks make me happier. If you're still not feeling it, think of funny things or experiences you had. Maybe it's when your buddy had too much of a good time last weekend, passed out, and had random items stacked on his head, and you took pictures. Or maybe it was the time you asked your friend about certain locations in the world, and he said, I don't know, I was never good at geometry. Actual true story of mine. Whatever it is for you, use it to your advantage and get you a good smile. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 8. How you can develop skill in using words. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 8. How to talk. I'm assuming if you're here, then you know how to talk already. Probably. But learning how to talk and winning people over. First of all, you're overthinking it. Most people think too much before they talk instead of just doing it. Take a chill pill and just be friendly. Small talk is meant to be brilliant. I know you might say you hate it, but maybe that's because your small talk consists of colors of rocks on the ground, or, hey, doesn't that cloud look like a pork chop? Trust me, it could be better. Know how to warm them up. This can be easy. Don't focus on yourself. You're not trying to ask them what their thoughts are on Mars exploration, but just basic things. Start with, what's your name? Where are you from? How do you like XYZ? Try to find things about them that you can ask easy to answer questions. This will warm them up and show them that you're friendly and you notice them. These aren't meant to be clever questions. That's why it's called small talk. You might be thinking, well, if most people are like me, then they hate small talk too. Yeah, well, maybe it's because of just too many weird experiences, but when you notice someone and take genuine interest in them, they will most likely be friendly. Get them to talk about themselves. That's all people want to do anyway. Don't worry about specifics, just get them going. Break the ice with strangers. If you're trying to meet a stranger, maybe start with a question of, hey, could you do me a huge favor and tell me what time it is? Or, those are awesome shoes, compliment. Where'd you get them? Some people might grunt at you like Groot, but really, most people are going to be friendly back to you. Get people to give you the green light if you're trying to get something from someone. Start talking about them first, and they will be more apt to side with you. Stop using I and me sentences when you're trying to persuade a conversation and want something from someone. Talk in terms of you. Focus the conversation on them, and they will show you how to get what you want. Ask questions to interest others. When they tell you about how beautiful their home is, don't butt in and say, well, I got a poker table and we stapled fronts of beer cases on our wall, and my basement is dope. Just ask them to tell you more about their home and what they like about it. What made them choose that specific design or color or project that they just completed? That person will leave the conversation feeling so good about themselves, but why? You made them talk about themselves, which everyone loves to do. Don't worry, you'll get to talk about yourself too, but first make it about them. Talk about yourself when you're invited to, and when they show interest in you. It's not bad to use the Me Too method. This is a great conversation piece to relate to someone. If a person tells you I work in fitness, and you also work in that industry, you can follow up with the Me Too. Now tell me more about what you do though. This shows that you can relate to them, but you are still very interested in them. Sarcasm is okay, but with your best friend of 10 years. A new relationship or when you're in public, don't be sarcastic or tease. While you think it's funny, it's really a dagger to their self-esteem. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 9. How to use the technique that a Supreme Court justice called white magic. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 9. There's a magic in being a good listener. You ever leave someone feeling like that they just didn't get your vibe, or what could I have said to make that not be so awkward? Maybe nothing, but rather you just didn't listen well enough. We all want to seem smart, clever, and intelligent to people, so we try to act smart and say clever things and appear intelligent. But if you become a good listener, show importance to what a man is saying and pay close attention, then you will appear to him as a smart and clever person. Why? Remember, we are all ego hungry, so when you feed that hunger with listening, they can only think so highly of you. The person who always interrupts, hate that person, has an answer before the question is even over and is constantly talking. Do they appear intelligent to you? Or is it the guy or girl who always pays close attention, asks you open-ended questions, and places high importance on you in that conversation? God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Do the math, stop talking so much, and learn to listen. It's much harder to hit a home run in the pitch black, but when the lights are on, you can see what's coming and you can respond appropriately. The same goes for communication and interaction. You cannot respond correctly if you don't listen. People will tell you their position and what they want. Just get up to bat and let them pitch to you. Playing poker, if you get too excited or eager, then you basically showed your cards. You blew your profile. Same goes for conversation. Don't show your cards. Get the other person to show their cards and they'll tell you their true thoughts. You can raise your self-esteem by focusing on someone else. It's hard to think about your problems when your attention is on another person. It's not bad at all to focus on yourself and be a little selfish. Just know when to put the spotlight on others. Listen to the music someone else is playing. If you say, how can I put my 2 cents in here, then you smashed his record, brought out your Walkman, and are now forcing him to listen to your crappy songs. Keep his record polished and clean. You have to know what people want, what they need, and what they are if you want to deal with them effectively. 7 ways to practice listening. Number 1, look at the person. This shows that you're interested in them at the most basic level. Number 2, appear interested. Nod your head, agree, smile, and respond when they're done. Number 3, lean towards them. Don't lean on them, weirdo. Get just a little closer. Number 4, ask questions. This shows that you're listening and intrigued. Number 5, do not interrupt. I hate this, and so do most people. Number 6, stick to their subject. If something is interesting to them, ask them to go further into detail and tell you more about that. Number 7, use their words to get your point across. When it's your time to talk, say things like, well, just as you said, or as you pointed out, and then say what you want to say. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 10. How to get others to see things your way quickly. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 10. Our natural response to contradicting ideas of ours is to argue our point and show them why we're right and they're wrong. Nobody ever wins an argument. Sure, you may have appeared correct, but at what cost of the relationship with that other person? How much damage was just done? How to immediately lose a debate or argument? Attack the other person's ego and bring them down. To persuade others to your ideas, use a low-pressure mindset and show him how this can benefit him. Attack a man's morals, values, and beliefs, and he will defend them like the 300 against the Persians. It was the Persians, right? The point is, if you want to sway someone to your opinion, don't crush their ego. You don't have to agree, but see things from their point of view. Then present unemotional facts to your point of view. A man convinced against his will is still a man unconvinced. You cannot strong-arm someone's mind. You have to reach their subconscious. Only way to do this is by suggestion. You have to learn to slip your idea in someone's mind and make it appear to be their own idea. The best way to sneak into a place is not by bull rushing the security guard, but by slipping in the back. Okay, don't commit a crime though, please. I'm not responsible. 6 ways to win arguments. Number 1, let him state his case. His walls will be up until he gets what he wants off his chest. If you interrupt, then he just simply won't listen, just as you did to him. Number 2, pause before you answer. Relax. When you immediately speak after they finish a sentence, even if they're not done, this says you weren't listening and were only thinking about what you want to say. Number 3, don't expect to win 100%. If you can find a minor, unimportant thing that he says and just agree with it, it doesn't hurt you, but it makes him feel good, and now he's more open to your ideas and thoughts. Number 4, state your case moderately and accurately. This is simple. Provide only the facts and do it in a calm manner. Number 5, speak through third persons. Not like a caveman. John is right. John's smart. I mean, use other people to get your point across that are credible sources. Raise your hand if you ever purchased something from Amazon just because of great reviews. Yeah, same. Try not to say, oh, I think this, but rather this person said XYZ and brought up a good point. Now they're less inclined to argue, but to truly take that into question because of this other credible source. Number 6, let them save face. Think this way. Rescue them to your boat of ideas, not convince them to come over. Even if a person will then agree with you, if you were rude about it, they don't want to be like, yeah, well, you're right, because then they look stupid. But give them an opportunity to switch sides. Say things like, I thought the same way, but when I learned this, it made so much more sense to me. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 11. How to get 100% cooperation and increase your brain power. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 11. How to get people to help you. First, you can ask for help, or even pay them. Or second, you can tell them about what you're trying to accomplish and ask their thoughts and what their solution would be. This raises the value you placed on that person, and they're eager to help because of how you made them feel. It is impossible to get someone to give you 100% effort without letting them give us their ideas and thoughts first. If you ask your neighbor to help you reorganize your garage, he'll probably say, eat shit, Derek, I'm busy. But if you approach him in a way that you notice how his garage is so neat, and that's a man's garage right there, or something like that, he will likely try to help you because you validated his self-esteem as a man. He now sees this as a portion of his problem and that you believe in him to fix, and that he's going to want to fix it. How to utilize this with your family. If a husband or wife has a problem with the other about doing something, then approach it in the way of picking their brain and asking, how can we solve this problem, and what would you do? This opens them up to show that you appreciate their opinion, and only then can you gain their cooperation in helping resolve the problem. A man is smart and intelligent, not because of his knowledge, but rather he knows how to place importance on other people and show genuine care to their thoughts. To get others to support your ideas, involve them. If you are negotiating a salary package, ask the hiring manager, if you were offered this role at this rate, what would you do? Now, they may BS you, but they may not. It's very possible they will talk their way into getting the compensation that you want. It always flatters the other person to ask their opinion or get their advice. The secret in asking for advice, there are 2 ways. The first is to seek sympathy and be annoying. Like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Or, why did this always happen to me? That guy really doesn't want advice, he just wants you to feel sorry for him. Or they just want a pat on the back, like, hey, here's me singing Doja Cat, pretty good, right? No, dumpster cat, it's not good. Get away from me. The second and more effective way of asking for this is, here's a project that I have going on right now. Steve, I just couldn't help but to think of you because I know that you're good at this kind of stuff. So how would you go about putting X, Y, and Z together? This is genuine. You recognize their intelligence and build them up. They have no choice but to give you a straight answer and sincerely give their opinion and most likely help you. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 12. How to use your miracle power in human relations. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 12. Praise can work miracles, even in science. What's weird is, scientists can't prove it, but they believe it to be true. Think of a time in your life when you were praised, someone genuinely thanked you, or expressed great gratitude. Didn't you feel a burst of energy and joy in your life, and in your soul? It just feels good, right? Praise gives us new energy in life. The praise you get that lifts you up is not an illusion, it's very real. Okay, but what does this have to do with people? Quite literally everything. Low self-esteem means trouble and friction. How to win people over to like you? Simple. Show sincere praise and gratitude whenever and wherever you can. My fiance told me, thanks for always doing the dishes. I really appreciate that you do it all the time. It really helps me out. That was 3 months ago, and I still remember it vividly, and it made me feel so good. So every time I do the dishes, I feel like she's happier because of it, and that makes me happy. How to perform small miracles daily. Life is a miracle. And every time you can lift someone's life up and their spirit, you're performing a small miracle. I know it's cheesy, but whatever. Make it a point every day to show genuine praise to someone. This not only lifts them up, but it lifts you up as well. Don't wait or hesitate with praise. If your wife makes a good meal, thank her for that immediately and tell her how awesome she is. If a coworker helps you out with something, immediately tell them that you appreciate them and that you love their hard work or whatever. If your child comes home with a report card, and even if it's not straight A's, a couple B's, A, and a C, still passing by the way, let him know how smart he is, point out his strengths, and he will want to work on his weaknesses to make you proud. 6 rules in saying thank you. Number 1, be sincere. Don't be routine, but act like a human, you know? Number 2, say it. Don't mumble. Nobody likes the under-the-breath thank you. No thank you. Number 3, thank people by name. Just by saying thanks, John, or thanks, Bob, adds a whole new level of gratitude that they did not expect. Number 4, look at them. If you thank someone and you're looking away or looking at the ground, they're going to be a little concerned. So, eye contact. Number 5, work on this. Force yourself to thank people as much as you can. Don't be weird about it, though. Use it appropriately. Number 6, thank people when they least expect it. Self-explanatory. Just look for opportunities to be thankful. Want to increase your happiness? Then give it away. Not like get rid of it or shred it, but just give praise and happiness to other people and watch it build up inside of you. Your happiness will increase when you find the good in others. 2 rules for giving praise: be sincere. Nobody likes the fake flattery bullcrap. It just says you're trying to get something from them. And the last, instead of praising the person, praise them with the action or that thing about them. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 13. How to criticize others without offending them. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 13. You have to be little to belittle. Criticizing is meant to be helpful, but sadly most people use it to beat the other person down and build themselves up. A pilot coming in for a landing gets criticized, but effectively. The tower tells them they are too low or they're overshooting. They don't say, "Hey, jackwagon, you're flying like a squirrel, straighten up." No, they criticize the action, not the person. There are 7 absolutes in giving criticism. Number 1, always criticize in privacy. It doesn't matter if you're Mr. Rogers, RIP. If you criticize someone in public or around others, you might as well be the devil himself. Okay, that's aggressive, but point is, that person will not receive your criticism. Number 2, preface with a compliment or a kind word. I like to call this sandwiching. Start with something kind, criticize, and then end on a kind note. Number 3, criticize the act, not the person. John, I know this isn't your usual standard work. Typically, I'm very impressed with your reports. This can help sidestep their ego and not leaving them feel crushed and defeated. Number 4, supply an answer. The whole point of this is to get the other person to act in a way that you want. Emphasize the answer and downplay the criticism. Doing this shows that you are being genuine in your words and your actions. Number 5, ask for cooperation, not demand it. Again, a man convinced against his will is still a man unconvinced. By understanding this about human nature, ask them to help you with the answer or action you're looking for. Although they may do it if you strong-arm them, their ego is still going to be crushed, and that's not how to win people over. Number 6, one criticism only. Don't rehash the past or bring up issues that were already resolved. Guys, you know this. You ever bring up something that your wife did a year ago that was done and over with? Yeah, how comfy is that couch, buddy? The point is, correct the action, not win an ego fight, Chad. Number 7, end on a friendly note. Going back to my sandwich method, always leave on a note of positivity. Don't be like, "Yeah, if you could wash these clothes separate, that would be great. Thanks, honey." Or how about this? "I'm really happy that we can talk about stuff like this." And that's one thing that I love about you is you always appreciate my concerns and know what bothers me, and we always work it out. I just love that about you. Yeah, that's better, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People, Chapter 14. A simple, effective plan that will bring you success and happiness. Here's a detailed summary on Chapter 14. The only way for all this to work is to take action. Knowledge plus application equals success. Go through this information again. Try some of this today, right now. We only gain so much by reading or listening, but we retain so much more as we do. Do you learn how to ride a bike from a lecture or by falling on your ass 17 times until you finally get it? This book can only work for you if you have the right intentions. If you read this or listened to this and your strategy is using this to manipulate people, people aren't stupid. They'll see right through you and you just won't feel good about it anyway. Use this information to have empathy, to understand how humans operate and how you can raise value in your success and happiness as well as others. One of the main things here is write down your goals. Gen Z, put it on paper, not your phone. I get it. Your phone is everything, but there's just a special magic in writing down your goals on a piece of paper and looking at it every day. Some examples is, my number one problem is blank, and definite steps I will put into action are XYZ. Here are the top 5 things that I wanted to gain from this book, and here are the top 5 things that I got from it and I want to practice regularly. Write down the things that really stood out to you in this audiobook and how you want to practice them daily. Well, that's it. That's the end of the audiobook. So if you made it this far, well, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you being here, and I really hope that you gained at least one thing out of this audiobook that you can use on a regular basis and that you can use to implement your life. Now, I recommend, listening back to this once more or twice more, as many times as you want, or even reading the book, because when you go back and listen again to different types of books on success and success principles, listening to it and reading it, it can just pull out different experiences and you can learn different things. So I highly suggest you retain this information again as many more times as you want. And leave a comment if you learn something that you want to apply on a regular basis, or something that you just never heard before. I would love to hear what you took from this book. So I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next audiobook for success.